Yeah, yeah. I said I grew up on New Killers Park Day tools. She fresh up out the gutter, got a body make you drool. I used to walk the school.
All right. So first and foremost, Miss Jones, welcome to the Mental Wealth Show. It's good to talk to you. It's good to have you here. Um, you've always been doing some dope things since I've known you. You've always had this real mature vibe. Even when I met you at SUNY Albany, right? Like we go back to when I passed you my mixtape, and I'm like, yo, because you always looked like you was about to be the president of something, or you had this A&R vibe about you, or you just knew music and had this energy. So I said, I'm gonna pass her my mixtape one day, and then we've been friends since then. It's been a real dope vibe.
Yeah,
God is good. How you been?
man, I've been good. That's funny you say A&R because it's definitely like I don't know. It's like it's something about music. I was telling somebody recently, one of my homeboys, he raps and he's been rapping since we was
Mhm.
in high school and stuff. And I still follow, just like I know the journey, similar to
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah, yeah,
probably.
yeah.
So I was telling him how my boyfriend's a musician, and I was just like, how did I end up with a musician? But it's ironic, but it's just like it all makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Hmm.
like the
Hmm.
all roundabout when it comes to the music and stuff like that. Like I
Yeah,
never really played instruments, rap or anything, but I love the art of music. Music is something that is like it's bigger than what most people, what the average person actually thinks music is. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
but yeah, I like to keep busy and stuff like that. That's what makes the world go round. Just living
That's
life.
right. That's just living life. Yo, you know what's crazy? Oh, well, I want to say this before we begin. So one
Mhm.
thing I discovered is like to all my upcoming artists, MCs, especially the older generation, um, don't look at it as if like, yo, I didn't make it in music, right? Like one thing I've learned is to also recognize the skills that you have acquired since you've been doing this. Like,
That
do you know how hard it is to actually go out in front of a crowd that you don't know and actually talk and speak and rap to? Do you know how hard it is to get up on stage and actually remember the words and speak the words, right? So there's so many different skills. And even in that space, the ability to become a salesperson, the ability to communicate and talk to different races, different ethnicities, different people in different spaces. So do not only look at, oh, I didn't become this. No, you became actually more in a sense because you acquired so many skills, so many talents in different spaces. It's just God has different plans, but just keep going, man. That's all I would say.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we at.
Okay.
So without further ado, let me my first question to you for the Mental Wealth Podcast. I want to just let you know this is where we normalize therapy. This is where we also talk about, mindfulness, emotional literacy, and this is where we talk about anything from finances to people such as yourself working on optical lenses to art, music, sports. You could be into real estate, you could be someone that's, fell from grace and is now building yourself back up. All things are possible. But mental wealth, we definitely like to highlight people who are just moving in the right direction, becoming positive pillars in the community, or they're in a space of, wanting to change their life and put themselves in a backspace and in a new space, a new trajectory. And for you, I don't think you ever fell off. I don't know your life as a whole, but in terms of just how you always been in a progressive space, what I mean, that's something to salute. So first thing I want to ask you, man, you first chose optical because you said you wanted to make some money. What did that career teach you about the difference between making money and finding fulfillment?
Well, after high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And everybody had their majors that they were already wanting to study. They knew this, they were going here, going there. So I looked at the local community college and I pretty much was looking at a list of all of the programs. I was just going through everything because I
Hmm.
had no idea where I wanted to go, but I knew I wanted to make some money, now. So I came across this program that said ophthalmic dispensing. In 2 years, you can get your license in New York State. You can start making $20 an hour, $40,000 a year. And out of high school, that it sounded really good. So I was like, let me do this and see where that's at. I'm making $10 an hour, I'm making $20 an hour. It sounds really good. So I jumped into it.
What?
I
Hmm.
jumped to it and joined the program, got my license in 2 years, and I've been doing it ever since. And then once I got my license, I was only 19, and I felt like I was still too young to kind of work the career. So I went
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
school. That's when I ended up back. I ended up in Albany. because I was like, well,
Okay.
where am I going to go? And then I thought I was too old to kind of, continue to go away to school at that time.
Uh-huh.
But I was like, whatever.
I was 22.
I was 21.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So like between 19, once I got my license, I worked a little bit, and then I decided, at 21, I was like, all right, let me go to Albany, see what it is, and then take it from there. So then that was the journey. And in Albany, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, I've been on this journey of not knowing where I wanted to be, but just trying things out. So in Albany, I got my bachelor's in Spanish, because I thought I wanted to be a Spanish translator for the UN.
You got a bachelor's in Spanish?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Albany, I took Spanish and Latin American Caribbean Studies. And I thought I wanted to be a translator for the UN until I realized you needed to know 5 languages. So then I had to pivot once I came home, and then I got into education and became an actual ENL teacher as opposed to even a Spanish teacher, because a Spanish teacher was initially what I wanted to do. But then when I got in the classroom, I felt like the energy, nothing wrong with the energy, but there was the energy between learning Spanish as a language and learning English as a language, because you need to learn English for survival, is a different type of environment. So I felt like when I got into the classroom of the students that needed to learn English, I felt like it was more like home, especially being in New York. We have all these languages, different cultures. So I kind of fit in there, and then I took it from there and then became an ENL teacher.
Wow. There's so much to unpack to that. I mean, so you started school at 21, but before that, you were also doing the optician, right? And then you went to school at 21. You were becoming, you went to school for basically a bachelor's in Spanish. First of all, I did not know that. Like so what's your ethnicity?
My dad is Puerto Rican and my mom is Black.
Okay, your dad's Puerto Rican, mom Black.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's still some Puerto Ricans who can't even speak Spanish. And then there's some, so you are in that space. And did you grow up like speaking Spanish? And then there's Blacks who can speak Spanish very well. So did you grow up and your mom was like speaking Spanish to you, or like, were you just hearing it in the background, or like your dad speaking it to you? Like, so what was that like?
So growing up, the exposure to the language initially came from my grandmother. My grandmother just started speaking Spanish to me when I was little. And then my dad actually doesn't speak Spanish. He understands a little bit. At one point when he was little, he only spoke Spanish. But it's weird. Language is such a thing. Language is such a thing. Yeah. But I always understood it. I started studying it in school, in high school and stuff like that. But I didn't really become fluent until I went to college and took it and went to Spain and studied abroad through Albany.
Wow.
And when I went to Spain, it was actually where I was forced to be immersed into the language. I was forced to speak it. And when I came back, I felt like Spanish was my first language. Like, I came back speaking clean Spanish, and my English, I was like, wait, what are we doing?
What?
Yeah.
Wow. So you went to Spain. See, people talk about what's the importance of college. And here we go, right here. You're a prime example of someone that went to college, right? And went to Spain and then learned how to speak it, even like became more fluent in speaking Spanish. So that's amazing. Okay. So then you wanted to work a part of the UN, but you realized you needed more than one.
Yeah.
Was that a letdown for you? Because you probably, it sounded like you were like dead centered on like, you know what, I'm gonna go to the UN. First of all, why was that a thing you wanted to do? Like, you know what, you got some people you're trying to get through. Like, what was going on with that? Tell me.
I don't know. It's something about like international relations that just always interests me. Things outside of the U.S., studying. I minored in Latin American Caribbean studies, so history of the U.S. never really was my favorite. It was always outside. And once I got to Albany and started studying LACs, I started realizing that there was a lot more going on. So as I was studying these places, I was like, let me start visiting these places. And as I started visiting these places, it actually opened my mind to different things. And that's what made me feel like I wanted to kind of work with more international type of relations or something like that. I'm still working with international relations, but in a different aspect. But I don't know. The UN just always was interesting to me. I always wanted to go to the UN and I don't know. It was just something about it. But yes, it was a letdown. But of course, even though I may seem like, everything's been smooth flowing, there's always hiccups. But the thing about
Yeah,
life is that you can't allow those hiccups to kind of take you down and bring you down, because then it takes you off your path. You have to
that's
acknowledge
a
the hiccups
fact.
and keep going.
That's a mental wealth bar right there. That's a mental wealth bar. We're gonna put it right here. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah, I love that. That's right. So listen, I went to Spain speaking English, and I came back speaking English. And like, so that means you was there really immersed in the culture. What part did you go to?
I stayed in Valencia most of the time, but I went to
Okay.
Madrid, Barcelona, and a few other cities
Hmm.
around. When you
That's
went,
dope.
where did you went through study abroad?
No, I was in the military. So I went at
Oh,
when I was a young man, and I think we went to Madrid.
okay.
If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But I know in Spain is where I bought the Mariah Carey Greatest Hits album. I never forget that.
Wow.
I bought the Mariah Carey. It wasn't over here. It was over there. I bought the Mariah Carey Greatest Hits,
That was a good
and
album.
that was a fire album. And I learned about that what's the song? It's called Underneath the Stars. It became one of my favorite Mariah Carey songs because it's like I bought it over there. I never forget that. That was a
Mm,
beautiful. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nice.
But yeah. So then you graduated, so you became a teacher. But let me an E&L teacher, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So let me ask this real quick. At 19, you were already working a serious career. What did you experience? Um, what did that experience teach you about yourself?
Um, it was definitely different,
Hmm.
because being that young, working that serious career, and then going away to, like, I still was working in the career up in, at college. My job transferred me to through the company up there, so I was still working. So it was helping me, like raising me, if that makes sense, in the
Hmm.
professional sense. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like Optical definitely taught me a lot of things when it comes to professionalism, integrity, business, and character when you're dealing with the public and people in general. So I feel like it was very interesting because it helped me deal with adversity that I may not have known that was coming through other experiences in life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm probably jumping ahead of myself with the questions here. So was it like you pull up with like a suitcase, that's metal, and you with the long, and you just walk into the room like, hey, I'm here, it's Erica, and then you put it on the wall, and then they go to the back, and then like what is that like?
So over the years, I've always worked in a store, in an optical store, but then
Okay.
2021 is when I stepped out and got into my own thing, my own business when it comes to the optical.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the
Right.
mobile optical, yes, I do pull up and I got the glasses, like how the jewelry man comes to the city. He
Uh-huh.
got the
You got
jewelry.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But yes, with the mobile business. I either come to people's houses, or we meet at different places that have specific locations around me that I meet up,
Mhm.
or do a little research around their area and meet up at certain locations around them. But it's a nice experience, because when you go to the eyeglass store, people just, you just walk into the store, you kind of get your exam and get your glasses and keep it moving. But I make it more of a personalized experience, because when you're wearing glasses, it's not just about helping you see better. You got to wear these glasses. It's part of who you are now. I didn't
That's
even
your personality in a sense. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And when people are getting into the glasses, depending on the age or whatever, sometimes you're a little nervous. You don't know what it is. So the experience that I like to give is I like to kind of see who the client is, to kind of help curate a right frame for them and allow
Mm.
them to feel comfortable in that frame, because sometimes people may want to get certain frames, certain crazy frames, a little lime green or something like that.
Okay.
And they may want to
Okay.
step outside the box, but they may be a little nervous because they don't know what other people are thinking. So I kind of lead people into the process of just expressing yourself, being yourself with your eyewear.
Hmm. Hmm. Come on, sales rep. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let me ask you this. Uh, First of all, I need some glasses. So we definitely got to talk. I need something new for the frame. Wait, so do you take it and send it to the lab, or like are you able to? Okay,
Hmm. So I have like
okay.
a mini lab
Hmm.
down here in my own residence, and then I have an actual lab that they cut the lenses, take care of the lenses and the frame with the prescription. So once you get your eye exam and have your prescription, then I could process everything with the glasses.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so many questions on that. So many questions. So let me back up a little bit. So at 15, you found out you were adopted by your
Mm-hmm.
family. You said that it became the beginning of your self-motivation. So how did that discovery change the way you saw life, and how did that motivate you to change your story?
That motivated me because I realized that, sometimes being a Black person in America, you can
Hmm.
you kind of see yourself as, am I going to be the statistic, or am I going to kind of make my own decisions and create my own life? When I found out where I came from, my biological mother, she had been, addicted to drugs, and her life was really rough and stuff like that. So I made the decision immediately, like, is my life, it's either the streets or I'm making my own decisions. That was
Mm.
really what it was. And the streets, it's too easy to kind of be in the streets. So it was so familiar that I just decided, let me just not do this. That's actually what brought me to Albany. Going away to
Right.
school was actually keeping me away from certain people, certain environments, and things that I kind of felt like I needed to be away from because I wanted to see something
Hmm.
different. So, at 15 in high school, people don't even realize that. And now being a high school teacher, I get to be what I needed in high school. I didn't really tell too many people what I was going through. Adults didn't know. My close friends knew, but adults didn't know, teachers didn't know, things like that. So when I was in high school, I was just kind of like just going through the motions or whatever on my own. My friends and music kind of helped me get through everything and anything,
Hmm.
literally. I remember in ninth grade, for Christmas, I got these. This is before I even found out I was adopted, but this was probably God giving me the tools that I needed for what I needed later on in life. But for Christmas, I
Hmm.
wanted these big headphones. And my grandmother, I asked my grandmother for them. She's like, "Why do you need these headphones? You're not rapping or anything. You're not, like, what is going on?" I just needed these big headphones because at the time, those headphones that I wanted, you put them on and it closes out every other noise. You just hear the music. It's
Mm.
just you and the
Noise
music.
cancellation. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. And this is the 90s. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like noise
Hmm.
cancellation. I was like focused on
Hmm.
that. And that, I would have my little Discman and them big headphones every day, listening
Yeah.
to, yeah, a little DMX, some Nas and things, whatever my balance was my balance. But at the same time, that's what it was. So, going through that and being around the certain people that I was around, the friends and stuff, you know how it is growing up in the hood. I'm
Yeah.
still in
Yeah.
those environments that are can easily pull me in of where I naturally
Hmm.
came from. But I'm still on this battle of, I got to make this decision. I got to make this decision. So one day I decided to go away to Albany, and me and my friends, we all we're in the room together. We all applied, and we made a truce. Like, if we get accepted, we got to go. Like, we got to get out of here. Life is not cool where we are. What's going on? Let's just see some changes and see where it is. So,
Hmm.
once I did that, it's just like
And where were you at?
in Long Island.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What part?
Um, in Suffolk County.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, Suffolk County, all over Suffolk County. Driving, we just be
Hmm.
all over Long Island. But
Hmm.
it's not like the environment was bad, but pretty much just sometimes you just need a change of environment. You know what I mean?
Now there's some hood there's some hood spots in Long Island. There's some hood
Yeah.
spots in Long Island. Like
So,
I've seen it a few times.
yeah, yeah, Wyandanch, we have Amityville, Brentwood, Central
Hmm.
Islip,
Hmm.
Riverhead, Bellport, certain Hempstead, certain areas, certain
Hmm.
neighborhoods.
Hmm.
I'm very familiar with all of them.
Yeah.
So going to Albany was it. And also going to Albany was also another part of, I knew where I came from biologically, where this could be another step to kind of get away from that story, to not be
Yeah.
the statistic that I'm sure they want us to be.
I'm curious, how did you find out you were adopted?
Oh, I had to get working papers. So when I had to get
Hmm.
my working papers, well, I was 15. So when you 15, you can start working. When I get my working papers, I needed my birth certificate. So in order to get
Mm.
the working papers, I had to get the birth certificate. And that was like pretty much the first time I actually
Mm.
saw my birth certificate, like the whole thing. And I was like, wow, this is real. This is not a
Real,
joke.
real. Yeah, because I could imagine, like, for someone the first time you see that, especially like if you're a young girl and you're going through things already, you already maybe feel like misunderstood, not really
Hmm.
accept. You know how kids, you know how it
Hmm.
is for kids at times, like trying to figure out who I am, what I'm
All of
going
those
through. Is this,
things.
and that now I also figure out I'm adopted. Like I'm about to scream. You know what I'm saying? So,
So it really feels like everything's upside down. It felt like everything was like life was just completely upside down. Like you think you know who
mhm,
you are, but you have no idea. This is just the beginning. So at 15 it was like life was beginning again for me.
yeah,
Yeah. It was like, oh
because
no,
I,
those stories on TV that we see, Sally, Jesse Raphael, and all them crazy stories, like that's my
oh,
life.
word up, yeah, that's wild. Like not the story, but um just thinking about that and like how would you're now feeling like I'm a new person. I have to navigate this world. My personality is not your personality. My likes, my things that I desire, it might not be from who you are as a person. So now I got to figure all of this out. And you mentioned that you speak Spanish as well. Was your grandmother, was she like your biological grandmother as well? No.
No, that was my adopted dad's mother.
Okay, so everyone's they speaking
Yep.
Spanish, and now you just totally okay. And here
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they had me at birth, so they got me like from birth. So it was pretty much like I was just exposed to whoever family was, you know what I mean? And I was
Hmm.
adopted into family. So my biological mom is my mother's sister. So luckily I was always around family. I always knew who my biological mom was, but she was my auntie for a long time.
Hmm.
But then it's like crazy because there's like,
Mm.
hold up, auntie's not really auntie. Auntie really had you. Like, hold up, you know?
Wow, wow, wow. So did your real mom, did she ever explain like what happened?
Yeah, she did. She did. Before she's passed on since
Oh,
she
may
passed
she rest in
away.
peace.
Thank you, thank you. She passed away when I was in Albany actually, and
Okay.
when before she passed away, I kind of built a nice, I say a nice relationship with her because I didn't have any. I knew who she was, but I didn't have the same
Hmm.
type of relationship with her, knowing who she was to me until I got to a certain age and was able to make my own decisions, make phone calls, and kind of build that relationship on my own. You know. So the last
Wow.
2 years of her life, we became closer. And at
Hmm.
one point, I did see her. I saw her a few times in my life. I've only seen her in person probably 3 or 4 times.
Mm.
So, but I always knew who she was. So when I saw her, the last time I saw her, I asked her because in my mind, I had an idea. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna see her again. I don't know where her life is gonna be. So let me kind of ask these questions now while she can answer them. So I asked the questions and I was just like,
Hmm.
I just want to know what happened. Like I don't have any hard feelings, anything like that. And she was just saying how she had gave me because she had two other kids. She had two other boys, a boy before me and a
Hmm.
boy under me. So I have two biological brothers from her, and she felt
Wow.
like me as a being the girl. She understood what it was of being in the streets because she lived in it.
Yeah.
Her life was rough. She was in and out of the streets, so she didn't want me to have that same kind of life. She kind of wanted a different type of life, so she gave me to her sister
Yeah.
to kind of see where that would, to kind of save me pretty much. And it
Yeah.
really did.
Yeah.
It allowed me to kind of create my own life and what I want to do. Definitely
Yeah. You never
blessed.
know how you never know how you would have turned out, so
Oh, I would have
man,
been in jail.
that's
I would have been in jail. Like
you
what?
just would have
Like
been, yeah. I mean, I
life is
mean that's a
tough.
possibility, right? Right? It's just real. It is real, man. It is real. I relate so much in terms of like what you said in the beginning of like I had to go to school because if I would have stayed around here, I would have got into some things. And for me, it was like that's how I felt as well growing up. It was like if I don't go to school, I'm going to be around here getting caught up in drama and negativity or just the energy inside my own family home that's going to drive me crazy.
Right.
Right. And so a lot of times people talk about school and like, oh, you going to school, but that's sometimes you going to school ain't all that. You man, sometimes school saves us. Sometimes school brings us to a place like you could be self-made coming from school because
Yep.
sometimes you go to school, you like, bro, I'm getting away from the drama, the negativity, the people yelling at me at home, trying to tell me what to do. Are we getting into it? They taking my things, asking for money, and
Yep.
I need, just so much going on.
It
Drugs,
holds you back.
liquor, it holds you back in your environment. can become such a negative, toxic place for you to build. But when you get to school, like we didn't even know each other's story, but I'm like, yo, what's up? How you doing? You know, like we just see each other in passing, but literally we both come into school to get away from a place where we're feeling like, yo, if we stayed there, it's nothing good gonna come out of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Yeah. So that's the salute to SUNY Albany for just, for and all the kids
UA,
that's there
no?
with the right that with the energy that we have experienced and going through that right now, man. There's light on the other side. Keep going.
Yes.
Um, Let me ask this. You've been teaching now for 11 years while also building a business. How do you manage everything without burning yourself out on some mental health vibes? Talk to me.
Ooh wee. Ooh
Hmm.
wee. That, first of all, burnout is real. People don't even
Hmm.
realize that, you can get burned out and it sneaks up on you.
Yes,
Because
yes.
I've had moments of burnout where it gets to the point where I can't do anything. I have to do nothing. So what I do now to avoid that, I balance myself where I go to the water a lot. Um, Going to the gym is a mental thing for me. It's not really a physical thing. I don't care about my weight. I really go because it helps me feel better. After the gym, I feel so much better. I can think better.
Hmm.
My body feels good. Being at the water allows me to feel free. Sometimes walks at the boardwalk by the water, reading, getting into different environments. Sometimes I'll go to Barnes and Nobles and I'll be in Barnes and Nobles for 3 hours, just different,
What?
getting into this, getting into that. And people are like, Barnes and Nobles for 3 hours. What are you doing? I'm
Nah,
like, are
nah,
you
nah.
serious?
Yes. Yes.
So you have to the balance is separating and getting away from whatever that everyday thing is. So I get
Hmm.
into bubbles. I call it bubbles, my own little bubble where I'm not dealing with eyeglasses, I'm not dealing with, with education or anything. And
Hmm.
I might deal with kids because I love kids. Now the thing about the kids is
Hmm.
that I'll be on the other side. I have a lot of nieces and nephews, so I'll go
Hmm.
and check out their activities and see what they got going on. And I do things outside of what I do on an everyday to kind of balance it out. And then sometimes I just need to just be alone, just listening to some
Yeah.
good music, new music.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's all different type of things.
Man, you said some powerful things. For one, you caught my attention because I love being by the water. I love being by the beach. I love being anywhere that there's a pond, reservoir, a lake, whatever else you got out there, a flood. Like, nah, let me stop. But still, right? But still, right? I love being near some water. So I think that's not even what I think. It's just that, yeah, like kudos to that. And just like you said, walking by the boardwalk, you said running. I don't reading. Barnes and Nobles. Listen, the amount of positive energy I get when I walk into a bookstore, the
Mm.
amount of love I feel when I walk into a bookstore, and I've been this way since I was in the military. Like when I was, well, before I went to the military, I used to go to the Barnes and Nobles and really get my vibe right. But after and during the military, so what's that like for you? Like when you walk in Barnes and Nobles or a bookstore, what's the feeling you get, and like where does your mind, what's going on with your mind?
So years back, like I'd say probably like in my 20s, I would go to Barnes and Nobles and I specifically used to look for the African American section. And I
Hmm.
used to just dive into different because my grandmother would always expose me to books and not even school, because in school we didn't read any of these books. So I would go and I started
Facts.
realizing that there was a lot of books that were really good books, good information that we needed to know. And it was certain sections. Like going to Albany when I studied Latin American Caribbean studies, there was a professor I had. I can't think of his name, but he was Jamaican. And he was the
Hmm.
first black teacher that I ever had. And
Hmm.
being that he was from Jamaica, he's teaching history of Jamaica from that perspective. And the book that we read, um, Jamaica Kincaid, that was the author's name. And
Hmm.
that book, it was like it opened my mind to different things. And I'm just like, okay, so this is not just a regular Eric Jerome Dickey type thing. So I started going to the Barnes and Nobles looking for different books. And now as I'm
Hmm.
going into Barnes and Nobles, I'm not buying these books because books also, you buy all these books, it costs money too. So I'm sitting in Barnes and Nobles reading a half hour into this book, another half hour into this book, and I'm kind of putting pieces together, seeing what books I want and just different things like that. Now, as I go into Barnes and Nobles, my mind is open more. So now I'm going
Yeah.
to different things, different areas. I'm probably all over, even in the kids section, because I want to see what the kids are reading too. But the
Hmm.
feeling that I get is free. free
Yeah. Yeah.
and like I'm like a new sponge. Every time I go in, I feel like I'm a new sponge and I'm gonna get some information. And then it's like going to Toys R Us as a kid. Like we don't know,
Facts.
it's a lot of goodies in here, but let's get it.
Facts. No, you never lie. Like it's such a place of abundance. I look at it as like you said, like toys, fruit, like just so much like a plethora. It's like a smorgasbord of things, banquets of just knowledge and information. I used to go, you drop me off, you drop me off, you can go home. I'm good. I go to the self-help spot. I
Yes.
go to the music section because I really used to want to be in the music business. I used to go to the music business section and just read like how to be a
Wow.
CEO, I used to learn all of the contracts, read what points mean and things. I used to get those things. And then even when in the military, they used to ship the books to me and I used to be in I used to be in the military in the rack. It's the rack. We call it a coffin. We used to be in there just reading all night. Like, oh my God, this is what the contracts are like. Right. And then so and then now, even now, like I will go to the bookstore and I'm just like, man, like just bring me to the space that's talking about ideals and creativity and just how to. I bought a book one time. It was called just 100 Side Hustles. It was like 100 Side Hustles and how to make money. And I bought this book, and the first thing they had on there was making candles. It was like you could just make candles. So
Wow.
I ended up starting a candle business because that was the first thing I read out of the book. I didn't go further. I was just like, oh, all right, cool. I'm gonna try this.
That's
And I ended up,
cool.
and I made like $5,000 in 1 month one time just doing candles. And I never went back because what happened was it was too many people. Too many people wanted candles, and I was selling the candles out so fast, and I was in school, so I wasn't able to keep up with the business. So
Mm.
sometimes you can have too much business that you don't have enough time to really get everyone their business. You know what I mean? So it was still a good thing. But what's the last book you bought, or what's the last book you read?
The last book that I read cover to cover was Becoming Supernatural.
Hmm.
I did like a self study on that book. Um, that book was like, it probably took me like 6 months to kind of like to 6 months to a year as I,
Yeah, yeah.
really, like I dove into it deep. I have notes on it. I would go back, do research and stuff. And that was like the last book that I read. And but the crazy part about the reading thing is that there's so many books that I want to read. There's like 30 books that I want to read. And I'm just like, how can I snap my fingers, just touch the book and read it in like 5 minutes? Can I do that?
Right. Yo, I've set up a challenge with myself. So I have a little library in my house, and I literally have set up a challenge. Like I'm going to read all the books by the end of the summer. It was like a pretty much just it was a little bit overzealous. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I'm gonna read up all these books and did it. I'm on book two, and I'm barely able to finish book two, and it's way more books to finish. But to your point, I'm so excited to read the books, right? So one is called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. That book is fire. And I just read this book by the Dalai Lama. And this book was great too. And he was just talking about two things that people want to be in his life is to always be happy and to always end suffering. Right. So people are always looking for this one thing is to always be happy and to always end suffering. And I just thought that was an amazing book to read. So listen, read your books. Your knowledge is
I know.
there. So you can do it. Trust
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
You can. Let me ask you this. You were talking about being furloughed during the pandemic, and that brought you back into the optical. How did that setback lead to a new opportunity for you? Like I know pandemic was going on, everybody was going through it, but you decided to get back into it during that time. How did that just what was going on where you was like, let me get back into this?
Well, the being laid off was it was different because it was just like I've never been fired from a job, laid off, furloughed, or anything like that. So I was just like, what? Okay, I guess I'm gonna just take a little break. I don't know. But what happened was after like a year or so, I missed the glasses. And I'm like, man, I miss glasses. I need to come back to glasses. How can I come back to glasses? So I had met a few people in Philadelphia. Shout out to Philly, City of Love right there.
Hmm.
brotherly love. But a few people from Philadelphia helped me actually set up my business and everything. And then eventually I got frames. And then I realized, wait, I know people, I know labs. I can actually do this. I actually have my, like, I didn't even, initially, I didn't think that I didn't put all the pieces together like this. I didn't even have prescription eyewear available because I didn't even realize that I have this access. But once I started
Mm.
realizing that I have this access, that I can kind of do this, I can run this, I can do this and do this on my own, I just started taking the reins and just doing it on my own.
I love that though. Like what you're talking about is synthesizing. Like you know what you started you know the knowledge already. You have the
Mm-hmm.
information, but now it's like it's starting to come together. You're synthesizing it and you're applying it. Like it's like, oh, hold up, let me just contact, just hit, boom, boom, boom. Right? That comes from experience, right? You like you're now putting it all together. Oh, my bad. Keep going because that's real talk.
Yeah, that's really what it was. And at first I was really nervous because when I first started Optical when I was in school, there was a project that
Mm,
I had to do in one of my classes and they were like, create your own optical store. And that project made me never want an optical store of my own. So I always told
mm,
myself I'll never have my own optical business. But then I was like, wow, I'm stepping into something that I told myself I never would do. But as stepping into it, I wanted to still step into it because I realized that I do love eyewear, but I don't want to step into it with the restrictions of a store. I want to do something different.
mm,
How can I make this
mm.
different? How can I make this innovative? How can I create this as an experience? Because working in the store, I realized that they want you to work, corporate and want you to be like a robot eventually at some point. But I'm an optician. I'm
Hmm.
not a robot. I'm not a salesperson. I'm an optician. I'm an eyewear
Mm.
specialist. So it's a little
That's
different.
right.
I want people to have that real experience. So as I started getting into that, I was like, you know what? I was nervous at first because I was like, wow, this is me. I had to build my own confidence behind my own experience of the years that I've had with
Hmm.
the skills that I had. And it was just like, no, girl, you got this, this. Let's just try it and do it. And then once I started doing it and I started seeing the feedback, my first few clients were people that I've had that have been coming to get glasses from me through the stores. So that kind of helped
Let's
me
go.
build. But then as I started getting new clients, I still get nervous when I have new clients to this day. And I've been doing this for over 20 years. But
Hmm.
it's just the nerve of it's good nerves now because it's like you're really doing this, you have the knowledge, you have the skills, help your people.
That's a fact. I like everything that you said. And one thing you were talking about is the confidence, right? Like you were like, yo, I've been doing this for a while, but now I have the confidence to do it. Like before, why do you think you never had the confidence in the beginning?
I don't think I had the confidence in the beginning because it's like, trying something new, like going to the gym.
Hmm.
And for an example, when you go to the gym as a woman, going to the gym and going to the section of the free weights where most of the guys are, you got to have confidence to go over there. Most women don't just do that.
Yeah.
I've learned in life, you just got to do it. Going to Albany, I just did it. I never thought of going away to school. I never thought, I didn't even have, I took student loans and stuff like that. I never thought that I would be in
Hmm.
Spain studying and living in Spain and doing this. Sometimes you just have to do it. And in life, I'm learning that all of these things, if it doesn't work out, it's okay.
It definitely is okay, right? But it's also a teaching lesson, right? It's an experience, something that you can have for another season in your life that might come up that you're going to come across and you're going to reflect like you did during the pandemic and realize I got this, I got that. Let me
Right.
figure this out. Let me ask you this question. Are you a owner of this business?
Yes, I'm the CEO owner of the business. It's an LLC.
What's the name of the business?
Read with us services.
Read with us. You got to send me do you have a website? You got to send me everything because I got to connect that with you because I love this. This is definitely what it needs to be. People need to know more about this. People need to support you. Actually, this is a black woman in her own space making money off being an optician, handling business. And there's not too many people, especially of color, that's out there doing this, right? Like this stuff that needs to be talked about and needs to be shared, and people need to see this. Um, I remember my aunt. My aunt lives in a very nice neighborhood. I'm probably going off topic here, but you'll forgive me. My aunt lives in a very nice neighborhood, right? But
Mhm.
she took me to this neighborhood one time, and she was like, "Oh, you need to get some glasses." And I'm like, "I get some glasses." She's like, "Yeah, my friend is a da 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 da. Go to his house," and I'm like, "A house? go to his house. So I went to his house and I went downstairs because at first I was a little nervous. I'm like, "I'm in somebody's house," but my aunt goes here all the time. So I went downstairs in his basement, but it was a whole like, uh, I don't know, optometrist, a whole office. It was an office full
Love
of
that.
shades and glass. It was people down there just hanging out, chilling. I'm like, yo, you wouldn't. But and then I was telling my girl this the other day. I was like, yo, you don't really realize when you're in these nice neighborhoods, there's
Hmm.
businesses being ran out of these neighborhoods. They're
Hmm.
not just there. And you think they're there and just homes. Like they got studios downstairs. They got
Hello, somebody.
like photo booths, photo studios. They got man, you name it. These people have these things developed in their homes. And even the homes that don't look like they're all that great, trust me, they got a lot of business going on downstairs in them
Hmm.
homes. So I was just thinking about that. It was just a little segue, but bringing it back. Um, so that's dope. So what has entrepreneurship taught you about believing in yourself and taking risk?
It's taught me that you have to take the risk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when it comes to believing yourself, like you got the juice. You have to know that you got the juice, regardless. And like you said, sometimes when things don't work out, it's okay. It's a lesson learned, but you still have the juice. Even though you may have hiccups, you still have the juice. You have to keep that constant thought to keep your motivation up to continue to whatever you need to go. And sometimes you do need to pivot, and that's okay because if you think about a basketball game, those pivots are actually what causes the points to happen. It causes the things to actually, to flow better. So when you realize that, it's not a straight line, the entrepreneurship there's nothing straight about it. It's all learning. Everything's learn this and learn that and try this and try that. But it's a beautiful thing. And what encourages me more is when I see, the famous people that, they took 20 years and then this happened. It took 10, 15 years and then this happened because in those 10, 15 years, they were still learning what's good, what's not working, and all of those things. So it's fun. It's a
Mm-hmm.
fun
I
journey.
was that's dope. And I think everyone needs to hear that. That's inspirational. That's motivational. And it's a journey about you being your own boss. A lot of times people get into the mindset and thinking that like, oh, I'm going to become an entrepreneur. Life is about to be great for me. And I'm like you just said, I got my LLC, but then it becomes a moment where you might get a month, nobody hitting you. You might get a month and people are not satisfied. Oh, this broke too fast. Like, all right,
Yeah,
well, did you get the insurance? I don't know if you know what I mean? Like it's
right,
just so many things that go into it. You might get a customer that you don't really like, but you got to show up and be at their house. You might get
right.
a customer that you love, but can't afford it. And you're like, but you got to have that paper. I'm sorry. Right. So I can only imagine all of the things that go into it. And man, I think of Ray Kroc when Ray Kroc was, the guy that he didn't start McDonald's, but he was able to position McDonald's to sell more McDonald's, but he's like 57 years old when he was doing that. But he was
Right.
a salesman. He was a salesman. I'm not going to talk about what kind of salesman he is. I'm not getting into his ethics and who he was as a person, but he was definitely a salesman that was trying any and all things before he ran across the McDonald's brothers. So I was just thinking of that, like, don't give up on yourself. Don't quit. Keep
Mhm.
pushing. Keep striving, man, because you never know what things would turn out to be. Do you have like goals in terms of like I need to hit this month, I need to get this amount of clients this week? Like what is your process?
Yeah, so I do give myself goals and depending on the time of the year, especially when school's out. When school's out, I push my goals more. And during
Hmm.
school, I might do pop-ups, I might do certain events, but it's not I might do more events in the summertime and pop out more in the summertime because I can handle the load of the clients, like you said with the candles. Sometimes
Hmm.
if you have too many clients, you can't keep up with everything. So I try to balance it out and spread it out the way I can so that because I'm the only one optician running everything, whereas
Mm.
it's a nice flow to me. So setting up certain systems also helps, setting up systems where customers can have an easy way to process their orders, things like that. It allows business to flow nice and allows things to go. But yes, setting goals is definitely important. I set up year goals, monthly goals, and like half year
Hmm.
goals because of school, being in school 10 months, I try to do the half year. How is it this half of the year where I was in school and then not in school? And then I try to create the goal based on that.
Man, Erica, this man, there's so much I could ask you. This conversation was pure gold. It was always good to
Appreciate
connect with
that.
you. Not only just to pick your mind, but as a friend, someone I've known for years, and just watching your growth and the way that you continue to shine and continue to do dope things. I was like, I don't know nobody else to ask right now but you. I think you do amazing things, and
Thank
just
you.
who you are as a person. Always been mad cool, mad chill, just a good vibe. I want to ask you this because it's almost, I know you're short of time and I don't want to talk to you
No
forever.
worries. No worries.
What when you look at your life today, right? And you look at just you teaching, you being an entrepreneur, you doing the optician, being a podcaster. I gotta get on your show, by the way. I hope, I hope you send me an invite. What does true wealth mean to you?
True wealth is, number one, it's how you feel on the inside when it comes to your health, your spirit, your mental. That's really wealth. Wealth, because this is life. And as we're living, how is our life? What is the quality of life that we have? That's the wealth. That shows the wealth that we have, what are you doing with your time? How are you balancing your time? Are you giving too much? Is your cup mostly full as opposed to mostly empty? That's wealth. Wealth is a overflowing cup where you're not only full for yourself, but you're able to give to others if needed, because sometimes we need that in the world. Wealth is not really a dollar, but it's just also understanding. It's the planning and all of those things together.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I wish for you nothing but abundance, love, prosperity, good health, all of that good stuff. And just keep doing what you're doing. I would love to get you on for a part 2. So we could do that, set that up sometime. Next time I talk to you, you're gonna be a millionaire, so I'm just putting that out there into the world. All right. Do you have anything you want to ask me?
I appreciate the podcast. Thank you for having me as a guest. I've been catching some of your episodes and stuff on your YouTube and everything like that. I like the conversations. Yeah. It's important. It's important, the stuff that you talk about, because as a Black man, these conversations don't happen. When it comes to suicide, I'm seeing with statistics that Black men have a high number of suicide, because as Black men, you guys you have to hold things in and take care of this and take care of that. But it's nice to see other people give space to you guys to allow you to just be yourself, to, let your hair down, because sometimes it is needed. And these conversations that you're having with other people, just in general, when you speak on yourself, it allows other people to kind of see and open things up for them, which makes life a little bit better, so I appreciate it. Just wanted to give you your flowers. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you. And dope growth in the music. As I mentioned before with the music, I'm always listening to music. So I still have that first CD.
Hey, listen.
I got all my throwback CDs.
Listen, you hold that CD near and dear to your heart, because one day they're going to be trying to get that CD. I'm not even going to lie. I'm trying to get that CD from you. I'm like, yo, I haven't heard that in so long. That's a classic. So you keep that.
The greenback something?
The greenback. I think it was the Black Light.
The Black Light.
Yeah. It was the Black Light. Listen, if y'all don't know about the Black Light, y'all just might not ever know about the Black Light. You had to be there. You wasn't there. But that's dope.
Give your flowers too.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Tell us where they can find you at.
So on Instagram, I'm Read With Us Services LLC. On Facebook, Erica Jimenez. I use my dad's name. I kind of do a little twist with it like that. And I'm not really on too much social media. I like to do a lot of in-person things like that. But if you find me on Instagram and you send me a message, we can make a consultation meetup depending on where you are. If you're in Long Island, if you're in any of the 5 boroughs, we can meet up and stuff like that.
Because you canceled the Prezi plane.
Yeah, I'm not really on there no more. That's really because that was more of everybody that I know, people,
yeah,
and things that was me changing my environment.
That same here. Same here.
Changed my environment. I had to create a whole new page, and I was thinking about actually opening. I still have it. I might open it up and say, "Hey, y'all need to come over here if you really want to be with me,"
Yeah.
type of thing. But also, sometimes you just need to close certain chapters and open new doors for
Yeah.
yourself, and just move on.
Yeah. Hey, yo, that's a fact. I have that page still, right? And like my old page I'm talking about. And like
Yeah.
I was just discovering social media. I'm like, what do I do here? Like I have no idea what I was trying to do. And then recently I like it was like maybe like 3 months ago, I had like 800 something followers. And then I went back like 2 days later and I had 782 followers. I have no idea what happened. And it feels like every time I post on that page or connect it, I lose more people. I'm like, I don't
Right. Right.
do y'all not like what's
Right.
going on? I have no idea what's happening over there. So I just was like, let me just move on. And so I started with my new page as well. So yeah, so I understand.
Yeah, because starting off with social media, we were just becoming friends on social media with all the people we already knew.
That's right.
Then when you create a new page, in my mind, I was creating that new page to get authentic people. So I
Hmm.
have authentic people on social media on my new page that I have that I've actually met in person, had brunches
Yeah.
and things like that. And I have real
Yeah.
authentic relationships with these people. Some of the clients that I
Yeah.
have are from the new page. It's different.
Same.
So I feel like you
Yeah.
said, do you like me or something? Like people just get comfortable and used to you. So it's like, let's create a new vibe and let's start new things and
Yeah.
go
That
ahead with it.
I don't under, Yo, y'all don't understand. This is part of mental wealth for all y'all out there.
It is.
Y'all, if it's not popping in one section, go and just create another section and find out who you like and find out who like you, and y'all can all be in your own world, just living it up. You don't have to just stay to other people's energy sometime. Be like,
That.
well, I grew up with them. Like, no, you cancel that. You go over there, get your money, live your life, feel better, feel free.